Hi everybody, this is Lisa from Tilted Treats. I'm doing the final wording on the plaques. I've got a couple pictures that I'll show you, but I just simply picked the font in my Silhouette Studio, made it to the size that I thought that it would fit, and saved it as a JPEG file to a flash drive, which I then plugged into my Pico. You can use your computer in some different cords, but I just don't like all those obstructions in my work area, so I like the flash drive. That works out better for me. I'm relatively new to using the Pico, and I'm not real comfortable with where you hold your hands and where the image goes. So one thing that kind of helps me, particularly with writing, is I project it onto my cookie and then take your food coloring marker and just simply do a trace. And I'm just kind of doing a rough sketch. It doesn't have to be perfect because I'm coming back and covering this up with icing. And this is a really fine tipped marker. I think I'm going to use a 1.5 PME. For the actual writing. Okay, so I'm changing to my next picture, and I need to rotate them and also do a zoom out. This order is for both a boy and a girl, so I'm trying to keep the colors coordinated. Not make anything really frilly. Looks like my icing is sinking a little bit. It may not be totally dry. I just did these last night. And again, it doesn't need to be completely filled in. All I'm trying to do is just get a basic sketch so that I know where to make my letters. And I'll be covering this up with the royal icing. Okay. So I'm turning the Pico off and getting that out of the way. So this was the thick consistency royal icing in orange that we made. I'm just going to cut off the smallest tip and see whether or not I can do this tipless. If not, I'll just drop it in a bag with a 1.5 tip. I think that might actually work. So one of the things that I'm doing with my letters so that I don't have big blobs where the icing crosses is trying to actually not cross the icing. It's a little counterintuitive to how you normally write, because normally with like lead pencil on paper you just cross over and it doesn't make a difference. But with icing, every time that you cross over you're going to get an extra thickness. And again, I only have as much icing as I'm comfortable squeezing in my hand, and the rest of it is resting over the top of my hand. I find that that really helps me. So I got a little glob here where my icing broke, so I'm just going to try to stretch that out to where it's supposed to go. And I'm also trying to avoid crossing over any more than I absolutely have to. You could certainly do this underneath the Pico without having to trace it first. Again, the reason that I don't with the writing is that I'm still having difficulty figuring out where exactly to hold my hand so that it's not in the way. And I'm just going back with my scribe and squishing down any points. Bumping things over a little tiny bit if they need to be relocated. So I'm not totally sure that I like that. I don't know that it's thick enough, so I'm going to go back and take just a tiny bit off. I'm going to use my boo-boo stick. And I'm just real lightly scraping off that icing. It's already started to crust, so it comes off relatively easily. And we're just going to go back in and make it a little fatter. Yeah, I think I like that a little better. I do like it a little fatter. Another thing that someone said in a video, and I don't remember who, and I apologize, but when you're actually writing, you don't necessarily have to do it in the same way that you would write. Meaning that if you have a better angle to get into a letter from coming in it backwards, then go in it backwards. So I'm going to hang down this tail and pull the point of the M up. Need a little smaller brush here. This is a totally dry brush, and I'm just slightly squishing the icing over. So that it matches more of my trace line. Okay, that looks pretty good. So that's it. And if you tune in tomorrow, March 17th at 12 p.m. noon Eastern Standard Time, I will be doing a little recap and answering any questions through a Facebook Live. So be sure to visit my Facebook page at Tilted Treats. See you then.